I'm Matt. I'm one of the two co-founders of Alto.
I'm Jamie. I'm the other co-founder of Alto. Started about 8 years ago. And before we started Alto, Matt and I didn't come from healthcare or the pharmacy industry, but we came from a technology background. We had both come to the Bay Area to work in software engineering at a large tech company. And we both came to Silicon Valley with this idea that this is where you change the world, make the world a better place. We had all these big, ambitious ideas. And after a few years working in the tech industry, we just became a bit jaded with that premise. We saw what we felt were a lot of the most talented people in the world working on what felt to us like frivolous problems. And we really wanted to use the skill set we developed in technology, this knowledge we'd acquired to help people in a more meaningful way. And not just anybody, but normal people that maybe weren't getting the benefits of the tech industry like we were living as software engineers in San Francisco. That really drew us to healthcare. It's clearly a big broken industry for everybody, but especially bad for those that are underprivileged or underserved by the tech industry. But we had no healthcare experience. We didn't know where to start. We were looking for a wedge to get our foot in the door, something that felt accessible to us, and pharmacy was the closest thing we could see in healthcare to a consumer product, which was more what our experience is in. And it's one of the largest consumer industries in the country and growing fast, but hadn't changed a lot. So we really wanted to fix it.
And we also just didn't know anything about pharmacy. And this was probably one of my most cherished memories. We wanted to find a way to work in a pharmacy every day and get to know how this whole system worked. And so we actually just drove around the Bay Area, stopping by every independent pharmacy we could find. We were very fortunate, very lucky that we met Vivian, who had been a pharmacist her whole life. She had run this little store most of her career, and she wanted to start thinking about retirement. And so she was willing to discuss selling the pharmacy. So we bought this little store, AG Pharmacy was called, here in San Francisco in the Mission. And we just sat in this little pharmacy day after day to just trying to understand how it all worked. And this patient base was, patient had been coming to this pharmacy for decades, right? This pharmacy had opened its doors in the 60s, had been running, ever since.
And we dove in head first and learned by fire how pharmacy works by actually getting our hands dirty and owning and operating AG Pharmacy. And we learned so much in those early days, especially what it means to be a great, caring community pharmacy from Vivian and her team. But we also saw that it was a really complex and difficult process, particularly for patients with the most complex therapies, the most expensive medications, having to navigate tons of hoops with the doctor who's actually the one choosing the product, with the insurance who's the one paying for the product, the pharmacist is involved, patient is involved, all this coordination. There's no technology, it's all fax and phone call, and a lot of the burden of managing all of that coordination falls onto the patient, who are expected to be experts at this crazy supply chain just to get the meds they need, which of course doesn't work a lot of the time.
And really, I think what ended up driving the direction of Alto for the years to come was having this insight, like, hey, if we could actually make all of that work simpler and more efficient for the team at the pharmacy, then that team could spend more time helping patients navigate that crazy system. I remember when we discovered the statistic that 50% of medications weren't received or taken by patients. And that was causing hundreds of billions of dollars in wasted medical spend down the line. And still have a hard time believing this, over 120,000 deaths every year that are avoidable. And when I think back to our value, patients come first, right? Really, that was the inception of it. It was, hey, if we can be a company that cares about helping each and every person get access to the medication, the healthcare they need, maybe we can affect that number, right? Maybe we can help avoid some of those deaths and some of this cost downstream.
And really use technology to bridge that gap and allow us to bring a more caring human experience to the patient. Essentially take that great caring community pharmacy that we bought in AG and scale it in a way that actually can work for everybody. And that's what we've been working on for the last 8 years, but we're still just getting started. We're very early in our journey, given how big this industry is and how much opportunity we have ahead of us.